And now we have a lecture followed by Zoom, virtually, Professor Franz Roach. We will talk about professional development for education for sustainable development. Welcome, Professor. Do you hear me?
قايس قايس انت بالكاميرا مبينين
Do you hear me?
Yes, it's okay.
No?
Now hearing you can start.
Okay. I hear you not very well, but a little bit.
هي طبعا
Me?
Franz, do you hear me?
Oh, it's working? Oh, thank you.
Okay, it's okay?
Lecture now.
Okay.
Do you have the PowerPoint presentation or should I talk without PowerPoint? Bildschirm freigeben, wait a moment.
You can share us your presentation?
Yeah, at the moment.
You have a host.
Yeah. Okay, I try. Jim, yeah, okay. So, what was it? 1 second. So, do you see the presentation?
No, you have to share the presentation,
No.
not the Zoom.
Wait, I have to share it. What? No, it's not on.
Share screen.
Yeah.
And then choose the
PPP. So long. Do you see it?
No, we can't do this. We can share your presentation and you can speak.
You can see the presentation.
No, you don't
You
see
can
it.
speak now. Yeah. So do you see the presentation?
Please stop the chair. Stop the chair. Open the PowerPoint.
I have freed the screen.
Open the PowerPoint, your presentation. Open it. It is already open. Then share, yeah. No. You open the PowerPoint presentation. It is open?
So, is it now?
Yeah.
Now you see. Perfect. Okay, so I can start with my presentation. Fine? Yeah. Hello. Yeah, thank you for the invitation. And sorry that I cannot be with you personally. There are private reasons this time, which doesn't make it possible for me, but I really hope to see us in person in the future. So, I sent you an abstract about professional development and ESD. As I hope I can contribute to the topic of your conference, which is climate crisis and how to deal with it from an educational point of view. My presentation will not focus only on climate and education, but in a little more far sense on environmental and sustainability education and how it might be developed in professional development programs for teachers. Some concepts and an example. I will present an example from our work. Just for an introduction, I think that the main context we have at the moment worldwide are, as you know, the 17 goals that change our world, also called the Sustainable Development Goals, which we have for all countries on the whole globe since 115. And you see here the different goals. These are 17. The advantage was compared to the documents on UN before. Also, these 7 goals are overlapping, and there is a lot of analysis how they are also contradicting each other, but nevertheless, they fall, at least in Austria and Europe, and the same in Israel, I'm sure, they are the political context, which is now, let's say, somehow powerful. And for our area, the SDG 4, quality of education for all, is the most important one. Of course, education has always be connected to topics, but when it is about education, this SDG is basically about justice, so that every person, every man, every woman on this world have a chance to good education. This is the goal, and the concept they use in SDG 4 is transformative education. And there are a lot of, let's say, theoretical concepts. It's somehow vague, but it gives a direction to our thinking. And here you find a quote from a researcher from the US, and she says that transformative learning but transformative education leads to transformative learning when the learners, so all of us, can integrate the knowledge we gain and can interpret it in our own life, in our own frames, and put it into practice. Yeah? So it is transformative when we put education into practice, not only individually, but also with others. Yeah? When we want to make a change, let's say in a school, or in the community, or on a larger sense in the country, we have to cooperate with other people, we have to participate. And there is the pedagogical optimism that this learning might also is also a factor for transforming the society. It's of course not the only factor, but I think more complex transformations in societies, they need educational processes. One central element, which is older than transformative learning, but is very crucial, is when we talk about professional development and climate change education or education for sustainable development or transformative learning, it is about shaping competence, the ability that learners are capable to participate in the future development of the society, and this is connected to their real life. Yeah? Participation is here again named especially. You have many concepts about what skills do we need, yeah? What skills do teachers need to do this, and I would say in understanding of complex situations. I would say deep understanding is maybe a little very high expectation, but at least the understanding that things are interconnected. We many times talk about in sustainable development on environmental aspects, economic aspects, social aspects. Some people would say we have to add cultural aspects, yeah? We have to add political, societal aspects, but these are the main the three pillars, they are named sometimes. Then to recognize that this system is interconnected. And this is very important, I think, respect for diversity and point of views. Yeah, learning on ESD is not putting some of one concept top down into practice. It is about open spaces for learning, yeah, for sharing with the goal to have future for the next generation. Yeah, I think this is an important message in terms of education. A little older UNESCO document, but still very valid, is what are core aspects of it. I said already, interdisciplinary, education for sustainable development, also for climate change education would be the same, is always value-driven. It is education which should support learning, which keeps the future for the next generation open. That's the main idea of sustainable development, that next generation have their space of development. And it is our task now as educators, as teachers, to support teachers and with this the students, yeah, to develop knowledge and attitudes and possibilities. Critical thinking is becoming a very prominent term in this area. Critical thinking means that you have, when it is about sustainable development, there is a lot of, let's say, meanings, a lot of, let's say, interests people have. Yeah? And you have to look behind the arguments they give. They are not always scientifically rooted. They are sometimes politically rooted, yeah? And sometimes are messages which are not, let's say, which are not accepted in science, you know. It's different, it's opinions. We have this thing very heavily developed with digitalization. You know all about these terms in political sphere which came up 10 years, 15 years ago, fake news and all this. So in schools, teacher education, it is important that when using the internet to think critically and look behind the message, who is, let's say, proposing the facts, yeah? Who is arguing because of what interests. This is important. Methodologically, you would say that these processes use different methods, but always involving working together. So participatory concepts are important. And of course, the focus on applicability, as I said before, is action competence. And we talk about a global problem, but the learning should be focused on the local environment of the students. And nowadays, every local, regional development has somehow a connection to global context. But we should, of course, focus the learning on the real life of the students. This is a very interesting research from Switzerland, from Regula Kübel-Skraba. They did some research projects and came up with some didactical principles of ESD, which are a little different. You might know them from science education or from any other subject education. They say when you start to shape learning processes with your students or with teachers in the professional development course, you have to confront them or should confront them with contradictory information. Yeah, and to discuss these different point of views, and also, as I said before, think behind this critically. Values are important, yeah, but important is that people reflect their values. Why do they think that some things are important or less important? Yeah? Not just take some, let's say, normative concepts, try to think about it. And when it's transformative, these values has to be reflected, to be a real part of the person. New perspectives, so think on the future, maybe sometimes think big, think far ahead, and then think back to the reality nowadays. So it has to be always also an optimistic, positive view into the future. Otherwise, when we only see the problems, there is not much motivation, there is not much creativity. So challenges and problems are important, but and they are there, as we know from our research, but there are also, let's say, possibilities to handle these conflicts positively. They are still there, and this is important for learning processes to support the teachers and students in this, let's say, constructive, positive direction. Yeah, acting? Hello? Is it okay? Yeah? Now, how many time is left?
2 minutes.
5 minutes?
Only 2 minutes. No, 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. Then I just give you this dimension.
Okay. 3 minutes for a question.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay.
Yeah. This is a professional development. What I would show now is one course we developed, and this is connected with action research. Yes? Yes, I have 5 minutes, yeah. So we have a course to develop this with teachers. We call it MINE course, and it combines this environmental sustainability education with research in your own practice. This is what it says here, connecting research and theory, learning together in a group, dealing with complexity. And this is a message I would give you, that such learning needs some time. You cannot do it in one afternoon or so. So these are 4 year, in this case, courses where teachers meet 6 or 7 times during 3 to 5 days. You might also think about a course about, let's say, 1 year, at least once a semester. But the main thing is that they have spaces to get information, and at the same time, these kind of regional working groups seems very important, where the participants of such a course meet in small groups, also in local groups, and what they heard in the seminars, they can share in these groups, they can reflect about it, so they can deepen their understanding, that it becomes more transformative for them. Just an example for the first seminar we did in one of these courses, we do it since many years, and also published about it. We start the seminar like this, that in the region where we are with our students, let's say 30 people, they research initiatives like farms, tourist shops, a hotel and talk to people what they think about sustainable development, what they think about climate change, what they are doing, to in this direction, being more sustainable. There they learn for the first time to use some interviews, to use some let's say, small questionnaires, do some pictures. Then they go back in the seminar room, reflect on these issues, and develop their, let's say, first notion of sustainable development and learn. So this we mean with research-based education, not having a lecture and saying this is it. So let's find the students by themselves or the teachers what it is about. And here are some quotes just from the interviews we did with a company research. So it's process-oriented. The participants said research takes time. Research is something very, let's say, hard thing. So they say no, to try it out, to make mistakes, but then to think again. And so that research becomes more a creative process. So that it becomes also a better image among practitioners. Community is very important. And the main results, like in summary, is that in this form of learning, you also increase the self-esteem of teachers, not only the knowledge, so they have this space who can also have thoughts which are maybe not correct, but they are open to discussion. Trust building, I wrote here, is very important in these complex things which are not so easy and sure to handle. And what is also important is a balance of provocation and support. These are adults, and sometimes we challenge them, but then at the same time they have support for learning. It's very important to have challenges and support. Then they said this is intensive learning process. And it promotes interest to do this then further with the practice, which is the main goal of the whole course. And let me end with an overall picture. When you do professional development, it's maybe similar to other contexts. You need a balance regarding content between topic-related action and reflection. Adults learn in this way. You need a balance of individual learning with social activities, particularly fostering community building, and you need a balance of internal learning with external support. So in these processes, you bring people from outside, so they reflect on themselves in the group, but have support from outside. And this is something you have to organize, but if there is enough space and resources, this is learning, I would say, which might develop the professional competence of teachers further, especially in this ESD and over. Thank you very much. I hope.
Questions?
Herr Professor Rauch, vielen Dank für Ihre Teilnahme und für Ihre sehr, sehr interessante Vorlesung. Aber ich muss leider in Englisch sprechen, ansonsten wird mich niemanden verstehen, außer Sie.
Yeah.
The following question is like that. How can I learn to be contra without harming myself and my community against the inner pressure of the mainstream? And you know, and I know, the mainstream is done by the political who followed the interest of them, of the governments. Also vielleicht in Deutsch, dann kann ich mich besser ausdrücken. Mein Deutsch ist besser als mein Englisch. Just a moment, please. Meine Frage war, wie kann ich mich selber beibringen, gegen die Mainstream zu sein? Jetzt können Sie mich besser hören.
Yeah, I understand how can I do this against the mainstream. Is this what you're saying?
Ja, und der Mainstream ist, also Mainstream ist affected very, durch die Regierungen, die ihre eigenen Interessen eigentlich folgen. Und das könnten wir als Beispiel in Deutschland vor der Krieg gegen Russland und jetzt während der Krieg, wie die gesamte Sprache sich geändert hat. Vielen Dank und tut mir leid.
Yeah, yes, of course. I mean, these new developments, and I would say what changed from my perspective, that the social dimension things like peace becomes more in the center. We discussed more sustainable development. It was focused a lot on ecology, climate change, and it becomes a little bit of economy. But with the war, the social dimension and the component, the political dimension becomes obvious. And I would say somehow we can say environmental sustainability education is political education, because it is at the end of the day to transform a society, and of course education is only one part of it. But for instance, these movements you have, where you have now, maybe you heard in Germany, you have a very, let's say, diverse and contradictory discourse. You have demonstrations from left-sided politicians with women in liberation, well-known, let's say, people, and they have another meaning than the official policy. Yeah? So it is the same then with every aspect, that you have these different discourses, and as an educationalist, and I do this with my students, you should offer spaces to go a little deeper in these reflections. Yeah? So then I think change with the war. Yeah? And also that the economic situation is becoming harder for many people. That there are more and more people who have not enough money to make real their living. So the social dimension is becoming more prominent. Yeah. Is this an answer?
Thank you very much.